Hi, welcome to Down Home Money, a simple approach to financial freedom. I'm really excited today about my guest. This is Nick. Hey, Nick.
Hey, how's it going, y'all?
Nick has done amazing things at such a young age, and so I wanted him to share his journey to financial freedom with you and where he's going and how he's going to get there. So, Nick, tell him a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm currently 28. I got my real estate license when I was 18, so I've had it for about 10 years now. I kind of got into investing in a weird kind of way because when I grew up, I wanted to be a real estate agent. That's what I saw from other people and what I always wanted to do. And then I started working and doing that and kind of realized like I didn't really enjoy it, which was kind of strange for me.
Yeah.
I was going to college. I did some other things. I went to work for a home builder. Did that for a little bit and then came back into real estate full time after that, and kind of in a roundabout way discovered investing because I knew I loved real estate. Just needed to kind of figure out what I liked in real estate.
Yeah.
And I really love passive income and the ability to create a great life and have freedom, kind of what a lot of people want. And I realized since my specialty is in real estate, I can create passive income through that. And so that's kind of what got me into real estate investing.
I love that. So share with everyone, tell them a little bit about buying your first property. Share with how that experience was and what made you do it and where it is today and what you're doing with it.
So, well, the interesting thing about my first property is I wasn't even trying to be like an investor. I was just trying to move out of my parents' house.
That's a good reason, right?
Yeah.
To get out. Yeah.
So, yeah, I was probably 22 or 23, just graduated college, and I was working for the home builder at that time, so I had kind of a stable job and decent income. And I was just looking to move out of my parents' house. I had some friends that were also in the same situation where they wanted to get out of their parents' house. So I had a few roommates just ready for me to find a house.
Perfect.
I'm a real estate agent, so it's kind of easy to search and look for things. But the cool thing is this house actually came from my mom's friend who was selling it.
Yeah.
And she was like, just gave me the opportunity to buy it. And they kind of gave me a good deal because I knew them. And so I just kind of bought it off market directly from them, and it was an easy transaction.
That's wonderful. So did you finance it? How much money down?
So I put it was about $168,000. I put 5% down. So
okay.
Worked for a year. It wasn't that hard to save up 5% for that. And then I think I actually upped the price to Roland. They paid for some of my closing costs.
So what he means by that is that if the agreed sales price is say $150, and then the seller agrees to give him $3,000 in closing costs, then the sales price becomes $158, and the seller will pay those $3,000.
Yeah,
just to help because remember they're trying to learn how to do this.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I did because my strategy was just conserving cash.
Right.
Try to get the least amount as possible, but. So that's what I did, and I paid 5% down on that and financed it 30 years. So
perfect.
I think my mortgage is like $1,300 on it or something like that.
How much did you rent it for with your buddies?
Well, so the funny thing about that is I actually never ended up living in it.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird story because I bought it, I was going to move into it, and then I had some friends at the real estate office that I work at that saw it. They knew that I had it, and they just
they needed a house to sell.
They were so they had sold their house. They were building a house, but then in the meantime they had nowhere to live, and they were gonna rent. They needed a place to rent, and they're like, "Hey Nick, can I go just drive by and look at it?" I'm like, "Sure, go look at it." And they're like, "Hey, we love this house. We want to live here and rent it for a year." And I was like, "Well, I could live in this or just have a rental property make income immediately." So I rented it out.
Okay, so how much did you rent it for?
I think that was a few years ago. It was about $1,600.
Okay, so $300 or so cash flow.
Yeah. So it was immediately cash flows.
Yeah.
And so the good thing was
got you going, didn't it?
Yeah, I got a rental property. But then my friends had nowhere to live, and I still lived in my parents' house, and I had a rental property.
So you didn't quite accomplish what you were wanting to accomplish.
It's kind of interesting. But I did tell them, I was like, "Don't worry, I'm going to find another house." And I don't know, probably just a few months later, maybe 6 months or something, I found another house and I bought it and we moved into it. So
how did that work out? What'd you pay for that one?
That one was, I believe, about like 140, 150.
Okay.
It was more of like a fix up type of thing, because the one that I had bought, the first one was like probably 2 years old. It was like a new,
so it's perfect,
yeah,
right?
new DR. Yeah, that's like like I haven't done anything to that house.
Yeah.
It's like a few years old, so it's great. This one, the one that I bought to move into, was a little bit older. We probably put like 15, 20,000 into it to fix it up. And then so I was all in like 175. I think it appraised at like 190, 200, something like that.
Yeah, that's great.
And so yeah, that's the one we moved into it, and it worked out great.
So you got your buddies to move in with you?
Yeah.
So what kind of rent were you collecting there?
Probably it's
Were
around
you
like
living free pretty much?
not free. I didn't. I paid a little bit. I think they paid a little bit less than I did, but
yeah.
You know, I think it was like $400 a person, and I was
That's
thinking,
pretty cheap. You can't live anywhere for $400,
yeah,
right?
I mean, yeah, they're getting a great
deal.
They're getting a great deal, and I was paying maybe like $200 or something.
Yeah, that's great.
So my mortgage was $200 a month.
I love that. That's fantastic. So
yeah.
Then you bought more. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah, I did buy more. I can't remember exactly like the third. I've got 5 total.
Okay, 5 total. That's fantastic.
Actually,
At 28 years old, I think that is fantastic. I love that you are just taking the bull by the horns.
Yeah. Okay, I do remember. So the third and the fourth literally happened in like the same month.
Really?
Kind of crazy.
Just because it happened that way, or?
Yeah. Well, I just had like an opportunity. Like if someone brings me a good deal, I'm gonna find a way to buy it.
I hear you.
You know,
I'm the same way.
Like I'm gonna get money somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was the plan was to live in a house for a year.
Yeah.
And then move out, rent it, buy another one. You know, because like you can get like the owner occupied loan, you know, every 6 or 12 months.
Yeah.
And so that was the plan, the easy way to build up a portfolio in the beginning. So we lived in that house for a year. And then I had found another one. It really worked out. About 12 or 13 months later, I found another house on the north side of town to buy, and I got that one in contract. And when that was happening, I had some friends in the office, another referral, that they were selling the rental property. And so this one was just a straight, you know, not going to live in, it was just straight rental.
Yeah.
And so I partnered with my parents on that one, and we bought it together. So I just couldn't pass that one up.
Yeah.
I wanted to get it. So I was moving into this other one, and then we purchased this other rental property like in the same months.
I love that. So what kind of cash flow are in those two?
You know, pretty much all of them right now are like between like 300 to 400.
Yeah.
It depends how you calculate too, because some people
that doesn't count depreciation, right? That's just what your cash flow.
Yeah. But some people will take just like the PITI payment,
right?
And then subtract it from your rent, and like that's what you make.
Yeah.
But I usually factor in like 5% vacancy, some for capex, and a couple other things. So like. My cash flow, I usually say like lower numbers than what I'm actually bringing into the bank.
Right.
Because I just kind of plan for those things ahead.
I'm the same way, because I mean, an expense is an expense. I know I get to write it off, but an expense is an expense. What am I netting and bringing home to where I can use it for something else, right? I mean, because the whole goal is to build a passive income stream that you can live off of.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of like inexperienced investors or people that don't know so much and just get a first house, like they just look at what's my mortgage payment, what's my rent, and like, oh, that's how much I'm making. And they don't realize that after vacancies and property management and everything else, they're not making anything, and they paid too much for the house and
because
like
you get your best deal going in.
Yeah,
we've all figured that out, right?
Yeah. So
tell me about you. So a little bit about, what did you major in college?
Real estate.
You did do real estate, didn't you? Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then were you surprised that you didn't want to do sales?
I was really surprised.
So tell a little bit about that, because everybody thinks they want to be a real estate agent. Have you ever noticed that?
That's what I thought.
But when you get in it and you really see what all is involved, you kind of start thinking, well, maybe I want to work smarter, harder.
I was kind of funny. Like I make a joke about myself, because when I started like trying to sell houses, and I did do a few transactions and everything, and I was like, man, this is not like for me and stuff. And then it's like, okay, let me go get a job with a home builder. And we were doing like luxury custom builds in a really nice neighborhood in Dallas.
Did you like that?
It was a lot of fun. Yeah. Like, I mean, I learned about construction, which really I think helped me out for later on when I did renovations on homes. And I was still doing sales, just different type. And it was cool because the homes were real fancy, but I kind of laughed because the sales process for that, like we had to design a home, which took like 3 months,
yes.
and then build it, which took like 6 or 8 months. So it was like almost a year-long sales cycle, and I'm like, this is actually way harder than being a real estate agent.
You're right, because usually it's 60 days, you know, 60 to 90 days.
So it's like I left real estate sales to do something that I potentially is even harder. And I was like, why did I even do that?
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, it was a real kind of like identity crisis. I mean, not to be like over dramatic, but like in college, you know, I was kind of like about to graduate college, and I was like, for the first time in my life, I have no idea what I want to do.
It's okay. Trust me, there's a lot of us that still don't know what we want to do. It's okay. I mean, because, you know, that's the thing is that it's kind of pushed into us that you got to do that. You got to decide by the time you're 18 what you're going to be and do and how. And trust me, then you wake up one day and you're 40 years old and go, am I doing what I really want to do? And there's people out there that's what they're saying. That's why people are deciding to give up jobs, even though they make a lot of money in those jobs. Mm-hmm. They're giving up the jobs for freedom and joy and happiness. And so I love that you started that. You're deciding at a young age so you don't waste a lot of time. Because I will tell you, I spent a lot of years working and not really sure what I was working for. You know, I'm just a driven person. And so the drive, you just get on the treadmill and you can't get off. Yeah. And then you keep getting pulled back in. And so. I
mean, I'm a big fan of like figuring out what you want to do just by trying things. Yeah. Not just like sitting around and contemplating and deciding this. Like the way I found this is by doing things that I decided I didn't like. So you find out, I mean, I tell people all the time, like, you'll find out what you like to do by doing things you don't like to do.
Amen. I mean, seriously, I know in my real estate career, I knew what I enjoyed doing and I knew what I didn't like doing. I love showing houses. A lot of people don't like showing houses. I love showing houses. I don't want to deal with all the inspections and getting all those guys and all that. That was what I did not enjoy. Yeah. You know, I enjoy finding the house and taking them and showing them the house and writing that contract, and then I wanted to turn it over and let somebody do the rest. Yeah. Yeah. So I get it. Yeah. So tell me some more about some of your goals and kind of what you envision yourself. So let's say that we're sitting here 5 years from now. Yeah. Tell me where you're going to be, because I'm watching you and I love that you're giving me the opportunity to coach you, and I love that because I want to see to it that you're where you want to go. So we're going to tell everybody, and then we're going to all make him accountable.
Well, so I mean, sooner than 5 years. I mean, you gave me this idea in 2 years because I'm 28. So when I'm 30. I want to have a net worth of $1 million.
Right, I love that.
And my favorite, I'm sure you've heard this, my favorite quote or idea behind that is what Jim Rohn says is like, set a goal to be a millionaire, not for the money, but for what it'll make of you to achieve it.
Exactly.
And so it's all about that.
I love that. I want you to beat me.
Cool.
You can beat me. That's 3 years before I did it. So you will beat me.
So that is the goal with real estate, just to have enough rental properties where the net worth is there. Right. And then just kind of I do recruiting as well. So recruiting and rental properties. And
let's talk a little bit about that. So what he's talking about is that we're with a brokerage called Keller Williams, and Keller Williams does profit share, and every agent has the opportunity. And even staff and employees of Keller Williams have the opportunity to build profit share. And this guy, what did you finish this last year? Third in the whole company, right? Yeah. Third in the whole company. He's decided that he's going to build profit share because we call that mailbox money. And I'm proud to say I made quite a bit of that mailbox money too, because I have 3 offices, so 3 Keller Williams offices. So share a little bit about that. I mean, because that is cool what you're doing.
I mean, it's just another form of passive income. Yes. And so I guess I'm kind of like obsessed with passive income, and so it's, rental properties and recruiting with the profit share is just 2 different streams of passive income. Perfect. And I can work on both of them at the same time.
But one good thing about the profit share, no toilets involved. No toilets involved.
Yeah, so it's real low maintenance.
It's very low maintenance. Yeah. It's truly passive income. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the great thing about it. So I love that because, I have an interview coming up with a network marketer who's made a lot of money through network marketing.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people compare that to network marketing, where it's actually, this is the owners of Keller Williams franchises give a percentage, about 48% of their profit back to the people that help them build that office.
Yeah.
And so that's incredible. Network marketing's different. It's a little different, just based on, you have a product that you're selling, and it's just a different concept. Yeah. But there's some great things about network marketing, and there's some great side hustles. So this is kind of like, it's your side hustle.
Yeah, I'm kind of like 50-50, honestly. Like, I spend about half my time recruiting on the phone with agents, and then the other half, like, you know, looking for deals.
Yeah.
And then it kind of is not always 50-50, because sometimes, like, when I'm working on a big remodel, you know, I'm spending more of my time going to the house and stuff like that. And when I'm not, you know, I'm probably more on the phone recruiting. So it's not like straight 50-50 all the time, but probably works out on average. So.
That's great. So tell me some more. What's some more plans you got? Because I know you got big plans. I
mean, I definitely want to own more houses.
Are you looking right now? Have you got any on your radar right now?
Right now, I'm just kind of setting up my whole marketing plan for this year. So like this year, my goal is to buy 9 houses.
I love that.
That's my goal for that, because
that's a lofty goal, and I love it. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I calculated, like, you know, what you told me to do, kind of work the plan for $1 million, and figured if I do like 9 houses a year, like for the next 2 years, it'll get $1 million. Yeah, I'll be there. So I need to. That's what I'm trying to do this year.
That's kind of the I'm excited. Goal. I'm going to hold you accountable to that.
And so now.
So that is almost okay. So we're in February.
I know. I need to.
We got 10 months to make that happen.
Yeah.
So we're almost going to be buying a house every month.
Yeah, we need to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
this is exciting.
Yeah,
and we're going to bring you back. We'll bring him back and let him give us a report every couple of months how he's doing towards his goal. That way we can help him be accountable, and y'all can watch it and learn from his experience. This is the best. There's nothing better than watching somebody else fail forward.
Nothing like accountability.
And accountability.
Yeah. So I'm working on just what I call like the marketing machine right now, and just trying to a way that I'm going to be getting leads coming in, and because it's even more than like buying 9 houses. I really want to have like a consistent lead generation business, to where it just continues to bring in leads. That way it's not like a one and done kind of thing. I want it to be a consistent deal that I like plug it in and I get the result. And that's what I'm really after, is that business that brings me consistently good deals.
Yeah, I love that. So tell me this. So where are some of the places you're looking to buy houses? Because not everything's on MLS, and I didn't gotten the best deals on MLS. I get a lot of deals from just talking to people like he's talking about on his marketing. Yeah. I think that's a great tip for you to share. Kind of, what are some of the ways?
I mean, I've done a few deals on the MLS that I've purchased on there, but you know, in the past year or two, I haven't seen anything that was worth buying. It's because
our market's pretty high right now, and so we are definitely in a seller's market. Although I will tell you, I am noticing some trends and some shifts. We're up about 30% on listings taken in the last month, which tells me inventory is going to go up. And if inventory goes up, we start shifting. If our inventory is 4 months or longer, or actually 5 months or longer, then we're going into a buyer's market. Right now, we're at about 60 days to 90 days inventory. So, but it's slowly, and then suddenly the market changes. So,
what I say, things happen gradually, and then suddenly,
and then it's like boom, and everybody's going, "What happened? What happened?" Right? And so we want to prepare you ahead of time.
Yeah, so MLS is not really where I've been finding anything now, but it's all about looking for motivated sellers in different places, and I buy homes from referrals, and really my best advice is like pick like a marketing channel, whether it's like cold calling, or I buy homes off direct mail, or really anything. I mean, I've heard of like radio advertising.
So like if you picked a neighborhood and sent out postcards, or like what do you do?
You could do it. Well, so I probably wouldn't just pick like a whole zip code or a whole neighborhood, because
that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Plus you will probably be sending a lot to people that have no interest at all. So you have to combine a marketing channel with what you call like a motivated seller. And so a motivated seller could use someone's like getting foreclosed on.
That's great.
Someone going through a divorce.
So do you pull the foreclosed list and start sending?
So I do different. I do like absentee owners is one that I've bought. So absentee owners, like when your mailing address is different from the property address. So basically someone that has a rental property.
That's a great tip.
Because not I would say maybe most landlords don't know what they're doing, and so they need to get out from this house. They don't manage it properly, and that's when the tenant messes it up, and and they're like, just take it away from me.
Yeah, so. And now when the market is this high, they're seeing what they can get for the house that they might have bought 10 years ago, and the price may have doubled. I've got properties that the price is twice what it was 10 years ago. And so, I mean, I think you have an advantage, you know, for them to share with them that you're going to help them cash out.
Yeah. The most recent deal, I flipped a house in December. And it was an absentee owner situation. So
let's talk about that. So let's talk about that house and flipping and your feelings on flipping and how that's working for you.
Yeah, I mean, I like flips. So I'm actually trying to get away from the big scale renovations just because it's a lot of, like, I don't know, just maybe I'm lazy or something. It's like it's
a lot of chasing workers is what it is.
Yeah. So I'll give you actually a really good example. So in February of last year or March of last year, I sold a flip that I did right in the beginning of the year. And then at the end of the year, like December, I sold another flip. I made, so in the first one, I spent about $85,000 on the remodel. So it was the biggest remodel I had done to date.
Yeah.
And it took like 3 or 4 months. I had fights with my contractors. It was a very stressful process, to be honest.
I'm sure.
But I'll tell you, the home looked great. I had it staged. Pictures were awesome.
Made it all worthwhile. When you see the finished product, you go, okay, that's why.
Everyone was like, man, this house looks awesome. And I sold it, and I made about $24,000.
Which is great.
Good,
I mean, some people work all year long to make that.
Yeah. But I'll tell you why I say I'm trying to get away from the big scale rent, because the one I did in December, I bought it in November. I sold it in 6 weeks.
Oh, there you go.
By the time I bought it, time I sold it was 6 weeks. It was already in pretty good shape, like livable.
Right.
But it needed probably $40K in updates.
Okay.
But I didn't do that. I spent $3,000 on the house. I did some landscaping, a little bit of paint, cleaned it up, photography, made it presentable, and I sold it in 6 weeks, and I made about $24,000 on it.
Oh, that's working smarter instead of harder.
Yeah.
And right now you can do that because, like we were talking about, inventory has been low in the past. And so when inventory is low, people have to make decisions. They decide they want to buy a house, so they end up buying houses, and then they'll do the updates, and the price, the value is worth what it's worth, right?
Yeah. I mean, if it's in a good enough shape where, like, your average person that, you know, watches Chip and Joanna can go in and do it themselves, then I think they'd much rather pick their own paint colors and their own flooring, and you just sell it at a lower price, but you still make money because you didn't spend money to fix it up. Right. So it's like, I made the same amount of profit on both houses, but one was 10 times easier.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I'm trying to get away from the big renovations. Just do that.
And do the smaller. So you're not getting away from flips. You're getting away from the ones that require a ton of work. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm basically gonna flip a house by just putting the minimum into it and selling it at a reduced price and save money and time on the big renovation of it.
Yeah. So tell me a little more about where you want to go. Is your goal more about building a rental portfolio? And then you'll have your passive income for profit share and a rental portfolio. Are you looking at any other side hustles or?
I was looking at other stuff like affiliate sites and other sort of passive income stuff, but I'm might not be the only person, but I definitely am like gravitate towards trying to do too many things.
So I think there's a lot of us like that. Yeah,
I'm probably not the only one, but yeah, I mean, I constantly have to like prune and kind of take it back. And I mean, one of the books in my top 3 is The One Thing by Gary Keller. So, maybe I should even be doing only one thing instead of 2, but I really like the 2 things I'm doing. So,
no, I think they go hand in hand. I think you're okay because real estate and then the company, real estate companies provide profit share.
It's kind of related. So
they are related.
But so I'm trying. I don't want to pursue other opportunities.
Yeah,
I want to the successful
master
people.
What you're doing.
Yeah, I want to be the best at recruiting, and I want to be really good at investing, and like I can make a lot of money doing that. I don't need a 3rd or 4th thing to become rich.
You're right. No, you have. And see, and I love what you're saying because I think people don't realize that. I think that we get caught up and we're so busy doing 500 things that you really don't master or narrow it down to get really good at a couple things and really focused on where you're going. So instead it's like throwing mud on the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
And so I love what you're saying, because that was my focus. I mean, all I focused on when I was your age was buying rental property, and I didn't look to the left or right. I was cutting hair. I'd cut hair to pay my bills, and I was building my wealth through buying rental properties with that money. Mm-hmm. And so but I didn't look to the left or right. And it's easy with our world today. Mm-hmm. And remember, when I was doing it, when you're talking, 25, 30 years ago, our world wasn't so, we're like, woo!
A lot of distractions now.
So many distractions, and we didn't have all those distractions, right? Because we didn't even have cell phones. So we had those big phones, in the car. I know you probably
don't know what that looks like.
Yeah, they had a rotary dial at home too, and you wouldn't know anything about that, but I'll share that with you someday. But everything was different. Our world was moving a lot slower without the technology, right?
Yeah.
And now we have so much technology that I think that we lose focus, and I think people have a hard time staying really purposeful in one lane and making it work and going down that lane and making things work. So I love what you're saying, because I think you're smart.
Yeah, from studying, I read a lot of biographies, mm-hmm. or I listen to a lot of biographies, mm-hmm. and what I've seen from successful people is in my mind, success is focus and consistency.
Amen.
So you gotta
and
really
get in real estate sales like that. Honestly, if you can teach somebody lead generation, and stay focused on it, and then the consistency behavior, they will make it in real estate.
So on a lot of my recruiting calls with agents, I'm they tell me what do I need to be good? What should I do in the first 3 months or something like that? I'm honestly, not everything matters equally. And so lead generation is the number one thing. I say, if you can be really good at lead generation, you could basically be average or bad at everything else.
That's the truth.
And you'll make a lot of money.
Yeah, because you can hire people for the rest, because you have plenty of business.
Yeah.
Because lead generation takes care of everything, right?
Yeah.
It takes care of everything. So I love it. So what tips and strategies would you share with people? Because, what have you learned by making mistakes? I love that, because I have failed my way forward on everything I've ever done.
Yeah.
And I love listening to other people share to save them from their mistakes. So,
well, as far as the rental properties go and just building wealth that way, if you don't have a property, the easiest way is just to move into it. You get that 5% down, or even 3.5% down.
Tell about house hacking.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
That.
That's kind of the fancy way of saying what I was doing, where I bought a house and I had roommates that paid me rent.
Yeah.
And, so my mortgage was $200 a month. So that's house hacking, and if you can just do that over and over and over again, you can
think about that.
Easy way to get around. That's the easiest
you should
way.
A duplex next.
I really want a multifamily.
Yeah, because you can get an FHA loan, 1 to 4 family, so you can buy a quad or a duplex or fourplex, move in one of the units, and you can do the 3.5% down payment.
Yeah.
And roll your closing costs. It wouldn't cost you but 3.5%.
Yeah, I've got a friend that lives in Kansas City that has a duplex, and he
really
lives on one side and rents the other side.
And there's nothing better than that. I've already bought mine for Rick and I. We've already bought one here in town, mm-hmm. and we're going to sell our house, and we're going to move in one side, and that the tenant pretty much pays all of our expenses. So we will be living there for free, and we can travel to our different places we want to travel and go do.
You definitely
have fun.
You definitely live what you preach.
I do live what I preach. He knows. So what else you want to share?
The second piece is, I always kind of say to myself, the best deals that I've done are the ones that I didn't buy.
Oh yeah.
And so that's just part of calculating all the hidden fees, the costs, and don't get in over your head. I literally was in contract a couple years ago to buy a house, and I canceled it the day before closing.
Really? So how did that work out for you?
I got my earnest money back too.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's unusual and fantastic.
Yeah.
He's a good negotiator.
But it's just sometimes at that specific instance, I really wanted a property.
Yeah.
And I was kind of willing to compromise.
And sometimes when we're like that, you just what you said, we'll compromise our standard
numbers.
And the numbers.
It can't be emotional. It has to work on the numbers.
Yeah.
And, you know, through that closing process, I realized like it's just not the right property, not something I want to own, and I got out of it. So, you know, some of the best deals are the ones that I walked away from. Yeah. You know, you don't want to get stuck in a crappy deal or lose money on something. So just be smart on like calculating what the costs are, and just it's got to work with the numbers.
Yeah. And you got to decide that on the front end.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you really get your best deal on the front end. People don't realize that. They think that when they go to sell it, that's when they make their money. No, you make your money when the decisions and choices you make on the front end is where you make your money. If you hold it long enough, you're going to make money. But on the front end, you've got to make good decisions, and you've got to go do inspections. I mean, did you do inspections on your properties?
Yeah, so when I started out, I paid the $400 and I got the inspector and everything. Now when I buy a house, I don't pay that money because I have my contractors.
Yes.
So I have like my
That's totally different.
Yeah, I mean that comes with time. Like I have my general contractor, my electrician, my plumber, and I give them a lot of business. Like they'll come look at it. I don't have to pay them anything.
Yeah.
And that's
what we do now when we buy properties.
Yeah.
I totally. And did you do this by any chance? Did you get a home warranty on the first ones?
I haven't gotten any home.
You've never gotten a home warranty. So we always got home. When we first started, we got home warranties, right? Because we were like, oh, our reserves weren't real great, and we were just trying to make sure if the water heater goes out that we have extra protection, right?
Yeah.
And so I would advise that too. I would advise when you buy the first one, get a home warranty, get a home inspection. And yes, you're going to have to spend money on the front end because you're paying for a home inspection. You may opt out of your contract based on what the property needs. But I would rather lose $400 or $500 on the front end than lose thousands of dollars on the back end.
Yeah, like that house I told you about that I canceled.
Yes.
I did get an inspection on that one, and it was like a 2-unit thing. So I think I paid like $600 for inspection. Mm-hmm. So, I just lost out on that.
Yeah. And you just write that off. That's a write-off, and that's part of your education in the real estate business, right? Yeah. So what else you want to tell them?
I don't know.
You think of anything else?
That's kind of my advice on the real estate side of things. I think that's about,
just get started?
Yeah, get started.
I love that you said that. I just get started.
Find a way to build passive income. That's in any job you have, try to do something that is also building wealth and passive income, because you're gonna quit your W-2 job eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the goal, right? That is always the goal. So thank you for being here. So you promise you'll come back and give them a report, right? So
if I'm doing well.
No, whether he's doing well or not, I'm bringing him back because he is going to hit his goals, because I'm going to see to it. I'm going to help him. We're going to make sure that happens. Y'all can watch. We're going to share our the good, the bad, and the ugly, okay? We promise we'll share good, bad, and ugly. And we can't wait to share with you his journey to financial freedom. So thank you. We'll see you soon.
See you guys. Thanks.